I think today's game will probably be the strangest game I've yet covered. I mean, on a good day, video games make you say some pretty strange things out of context, like, I need the little Italian man to jump on this turtle shell, or I need my blue quill rat to stop Teddy Roosevelt from stuffing animals into robots. But all that's small time compared to this game. Even in context, I have to talk to the green-haired man and his mannequin about fashion in order to find out where the drug dealer who disappeared on a plane went. Sounds like a word salad no matter how you slice it. But if I have your attention now, join me for a closer look. Greetings everyone, this is the Hipster Snek, and today we'll be talking about a curious title known as D4, Dark Dreams Don't Die, a Swery65 project originally launched in 2014 for Xbox One, and later receiving a PC port about a year later. And while I don't normally discuss the circumstances of a game's launch, since it has nothing to do with the gameplay in any way, I find it fascinating on account that the way they decided to unveil the first major Swery title post-Deadly Premonition was to just walk on stage at E3 and announce that it was immediately available and to barely even talk about it. Thus, our surreal whodunit murder mystery with Twin Peaks-style vibes and a strong emphasis on appealing to Western audiences went live then and there. And no, I don't mean Deadly Premonition. Seems Swery might like him some Twin Peaks, huh? Well, let's dive on in. The story opens with a girl on a frozen lake looking at a large white owl. Please don't ask me to explain this, because I don't know what's going on here apart from some context clues. It doesn't impact the story for many reasons and serves as our prologue segment and tutorial for the game's basic controls, which I'll cover in a minute. Fun fact, Swery actually left his original studio to form a team called White Owl, so maybe this was symbolic in a way. But when the ice goes out from under the young girl, we suddenly cut away and take control of David Young, a former member of the Boston Police Department, as he works to solve the enigmatic murder of his wife, Little Peggy, and the mystery around her final words, "Look for D." Due to a wound taken straight to the forehead when these events unfurled, David lost a good deal of his memory concerning the event, but in exchange, he gained a unique power. If he has an item of significance relating to a past incident, which David calls mementos, he can travel back in time to the events in question in order to hunt down the truth of the many D names he encounters on his way and what ties they might have to the death of his wife. If this sounds completely insane, that's because it is. Also, Forrest Kaysen from Swery's other games shows up and helps you in between story missions, and there's this grown woman in a swimsuit who thinks she's a cat, and wow, describing this really doesn't do this justice. Alright, let's break it down a little. First of all, calling this game stylish is underselling it. Using cel shading, it looks like a comic book has leapt out of its panels and taken on a lot more sass. The cutscenes are never dull, that's for sure. In fact, sometimes I feel like it shows off more than I can follow, splitting the camera's attention between 3 or 4 things at the same time, and during each there are QuickTime events to get more information by pressing a button when prompted. Oh, the core gameplay is much easier to track, more on that in a sec. The game is hyper-stylized, with attention to detail littering every scene, sometimes literally, and even the QuickTime events that queue up are aesthetically pleasing in addition to driving the story. The action sequences in particular are extremely well choreographed and wouldn't be out of place in, say, a Yakuza title if the mechanics were tweaked a little. Overall, just really sharp, distinctive presentation to the game. Sound-wise, the OST shifts between a hauntingly beautiful, recurring vocal track and a litany of music for both investigation segments and action moments. If you think this might be reminiscent of Deadly Premonition, well, you're certainly not wrong. It's just how Swery does things, I guess. But honestly, it all really takes a backseat to the voice cast this time, who all do an immaculate job. Each of them knock it out of the park, special mention going to David Young's voice actor Ben Pronsky, who nails the Bostonian accent and delivery every time.
Well?
No doubt about it. This is a memento.
Great. It's yours then. Let's hope it's the last one you'll ever need.
Watching these characters interact is a joy to see and hear, and it really ends up being the highlight reel of both the intrigue plots and the sheer insanity that accompanies them. Despite how I phrased it, in the gameplay department, it's downright slow-paced once you wrest control away from the over-caffeinated camera crew. Not that that's a bad thing, though. Fundamentally, the game is a point-and-click adventure title that happens to have Kinect functionality in its Xbox incarnation, though you can be forgiven for not realizing that immediately. Kinect thing's not a joke either, that actually is true. Want to open that door? Click it and then pull it open with a preset motion. Want to open that book? Click on it and do the same. Door jammed? Perform a little mini-game of moving your cursor in a pattern until it pops open. Want to sit down and pop open a fortune cookie in your own living room? Follow the QTE, David.
Read as much as you can. People hate bugs but love bookworms.
It's shockingly intuitive, but the game only gives minimal warnings when you transition from slow-paced, I am taking a walk through my own kitchen, in my own house, to, holy crap, I am being assaulted by a woman-cat thing in my own kitchen, and having to fire off rapid-fire QTEs in a row, action segments. Once you get used to looking for these signs, it will become part and parcel of the experience, but I would still appreciate a little bit more warning. You might also notice that you have some degree of resource management to consider as well. David has 3 meters: stamina, health, and vision. Health is only in danger of going down from its starting value of 10 in the event you do poorly on certain QTEs. Though, oddly enough, during some of it, it seems flat out impossible to avoid taking at least some damage, as I took a bunch even though I never got below good on the results. This can be restored by using things like bandages found in levels. Vision is used as a special resource that shows things David can potentially interact with in the environment, and can be restored by drinking fluids, including just ordinary tap water. But since I'm from the old school of adventure game design, I naturally want to poke at everything I can, so ultimately this isn't super useful, but I do know why it exists. That's because stamina goes down as you're investigating things and is restored by stuffing random foodstuffs into David's mouth. You lose if the stamina bottoms out. Now you might be thinking, wait, why on earth would an adventure game, of all things, implement such a system? And I have to assume it's because it was added at the last minute, much like combat was to Deadly Premonition. First of all, the amount of stamina used on any particular action appears entirely random. I had David stop to wash his face at a sink just because, well, I felt like it, and the game felt the need to take 10 to 12 stamina off my bar for what amounted to an Easter egg. But at the same time, finding a random cheeseburger left for me in the same environment restored my stamina by 45. And since the bar's max is 100, this entire system feels like it was added at the last second to give the player a way to lose where one really wasn't required or particularly wanted. And since you get tons and tons of money and you can buy items from a cat, yes, seriously, you're not ever in meaningful danger from any of these meters. You're pretty much free to push on everything in the environment, ask every question you want, explore every nook and cranny, so long as every now and then you pick up some floor peanuts or luggage compartment cheeseburgers to split the difference. In fact, the game rewards you for randomly shoving people several times or slapping items in the environment, in addition to properly examining everything you can. And since David is a bit on the easily distracted side, you can find a lot of amusing side diversions and even full-on mini-games called cases here for you to participate in. To say nothing of the main story itself, littered with bizarre and over-the-top characters the likes of which only Swery can bring to life with such ease. Like Deborah, who is afraid of completely irrational things like lightning hitting the plane and electrifying the floors. Or the mysterious Duncan, a fashion designer always seen in the company of a yellow mannequin he lovingly has named Suki, and many more weirdos. Thus our through line for finding out the mystery is set. And now I need to get into things that I didn't actually like. Yeah, the stamina system is dumb and shouldn't have been included, but I don't feel it inhibits the gameplay in any meaningful way. What kind of does, however, is that D4 Dark Dreams Don't Die is Season 1 of the project. The game was supposed to be an episodic kind of affair, with each case bringing us closer and closer to the actual finality. And Swery himself has admitted there's not going to be a Season 2, and what is there is what will always be there. Which is really heartbreaking for me. I adore this game, and knowing that I'll never learn who the all-important figure of D is, be it witness, culprit, key figure, or something else, simply adds yet another reason why I'm actually not at all a fan of episodic gaming. Maybe I'll do a snack talk on that sometime, but not today. Overall, D4 is a short, briskly paced investigation story that paradoxically has a lot of content in it. There's lots of alternate costumes to find and unlock, as well as documents to read, some being relevant to the case and some merely being there for fun, and so much more happening than may appear on the surface level. The depth of this game is actually quite mind-bending. So, is it worth getting for yourselves? Well, if you like adventure games and are even halfway passable at quick-time events, I'd say yes. It's such a strange, eclectic experience, I can't help but love it. But if you're not an adventure junkie, you may not appreciate it for what it really is and might want to pass on this one this time. And that's the final word on today's Snek Suite. This has been the Detective Snek, going back in time to crack the case. If you like today's outing, be sure to hit the like button. For more like this each week, make sure to hit the subscribe and bell icon mementos of your time here, so you never miss a one. For more from me and my interacting with over-the-top wackos, you can check out the Tomodachi Bro podcast and YouTube mirror channels for my closest bros and I talking anime, movies, and more. And join me here each week from our obscure reviews, indie excellence, and more. And I will see you there. Hey everyone, thanks for watching. And if you're still watching, I just wanted to let you guys know that I wanted to extend a big thank you to all my viewers for helping us recently break the 250 subs milestone. That is crazy to me. The fact that we did it so quickly is all thanks to you and you guys supporting me, and it means the world to me. So I want to give a little something back in return. Between now and the time we hit the 500 subs mark, both on my YouTube discussion page tab and over at my Twitter at Hipster Snek, there is now an open AMA or Ask Me Anything where you guys can ask as many questions as you want. When we hit the 500 subs mark, I will sit down, make the video, and answer every question that doesn't get me banned off YouTube. The posts are already there and pinned, awaiting your input. I'm curious to see what you guys are curious about. So I'll see you at the 500 subs mark with all the answers that you've been craving. And I will see you there.